Hello. How's everybody doing today? Just want to make sure that my camera angle is good and ready to go. Hi, Andrea, Marsha. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Cindy. So, we're actually going to start with one of these bottom straps that I had already sewn because I had the issues with my foot earlier in the week, and I ended up changing thread colors because I thought it was the quality of the thread that I was using. Yay, Beth. I'm glad you'll actually be doing some sewing with me today. Um, I didn't realize until I was gathering my supplies that one of the four straps has a completely different color thread on it. So that's going to make me very, well, let's just say it would bother me a lot. So I'm sitting here picking this out, and of course it's going to leave holes. I'm going to do my best to sew over the holes so that they're at least covered by the new thread. But we'll see how that ends up. Worst comes to worst, I can always gift the bag to one of my friends who probably won't sit there and look at the stitching, or keep it for myself. Oh, I'm sorry, Cindy. Hopefully you can get that worked out soon. I know what it's like to not be able to get things to work, which my stupid walking foot that I ordered, the replacement, still not here. So by the time it shows up, who knows if I'm going to need it, but we'll see what happens. Normally I would just keep it and prevent myself from having to order one in the future. But it was over $100. Like, I cannot believe a foot for your sewing machine costs like 15% of what the machine cost. Don't quote me on that. I guessed on the math. Ooh, 3 pounds of thread. How much is, like, how many spools or whatever is in 3 pounds? Hi, Norma. Oh, also to remind everybody for Lizzie, don't forget to register for the Rafflecopter giveaway. You can enter every day, and I believe it ends tomorrow. So the prize is a Mrs. H pattern and a Swoon pattern of your choice. So you can enter more than once, and I am pretty sure the link is in the event. Sorry, I don't have it on me right now. So I finally got a chance to look at the Wowek catalog that we were talking about yesterday. And I don't, is it me, or like, is there new stuff in there? Because I swear there's things in there that I'm like, I've never seen this. And trust me, I have spent a lot of time just sitting there, just clicking through all the categories going, what else should I get? Which is how I ended up with that medical tape. If you can hear meowing, it's because my cat is mad that I closed her out of here. She's not allowed in here. It is the thread eater. She's outside making her noises. I know it drives her bonkers that she can hear me talking, but she's not in here. It's really weird. She is very, like, she has to be all in my face. If I'm on the phone or something, she climbs all over me and is like meowing into the phone. Or if I'm recording something, of course, she's all in my face then too. But she doesn't do that like if I'm talking to somebody who's in front of me. Oh, you can hear it? Ugh. Zoe, you were making people think that I'm abusing kids. It's also funny because she wears, her collar has a bell on it, so you can hear her coming. Whereas the other one that we have, Mitzi, does not wear a bell. And she's really skittish and quiet anyway, so you'll never hear her coming. But she has this like super furry, fuzzy tail. And it I swear her tail has a mind of its own. It's always wagging like a dog. It whacks people in the face. She doesn't care. Of course she doesn't. She's a cat. That's too funny, Beth. I didn't know you could actually hear it. Man, that's pretty good. I'm just using my regular phone. And it's not even right next to the door. Does anybody else sew with fur babies? Or heck, human babies? I wouldn't have a problem with having the cats in here, except Zoe eats thread, and she has already had like 3 abdominal surgeries, and one of them was thread related, so she's not allowed to eat thread. And if I allow the other one in here, that means Zoe is going to be parked outside the door crying even more because she knows that the other cat is in here and she's not. I was trying to avoid seam ripping the normal way like this because I was afraid that I was going to cut the leather or the vinyl, but I'm running out of patience. So I'm just going to have to hope that I can get through the last few inches without ripping into the vinyl. Yay! Now I'm gonna spend my time sitting here and picking all this crap out. I have one of those, I don't know where it is, one of those seam rippers that have like the white domed top. And I just learned recently what that's for, and it's to rub against pieces, like little pieces of thread like this, so that you don't have to sit here and pick them all out. But of course I don't know where it is. Oh, see, but your dogs aren't trying to eat your thread. Hi, Cherry. Hey, Dad. So it sounds like you all have dogs that just want to hang out with you. I have cats who don't care what I'm doing. They just want to go where they're not allowed to go and do whatever the heck they want to do. Because they're cats. Hi, Shanova. Yes. And my boyfriend's always guilting me about it because Zoe loves to cuddle. So, like, she's always, like, laying on me or on my feet or something equally weird. And if I complain about it, Jeff's always like, "You're gonna miss it when she's gone." And I'm like, damn it, why did you have to say that? Then I feel guilty. He really likes it. So he spent the day today cleaning out the garage so that he can store the bike in there. Because, funny story, we have a detached garage. It's a 2-car. And neither of our cars are actually in it. So we use it for storage and kind of a catch-all. And it has caught a lot of stuff. So he's been spending the day cleaning that out so that he can put his bike in there and not have to trip over everything. Beth, you're like one of my friends. She freaked out when she came over here because I don't know what she thought, like maybe with the claws or something, I don't know. Alright, so excuse the noise. Okay. So now, where did I put it? Oh, it's on the left. Alright, so now we're going to re-sew this one strap. Donna, tonight I am finishing the Atlas rucksack bag. Wasn't good. I think it made that noise because last night when I stopped sewing, I was trying to see if I could get my automatic thread cutter to work, but no go. I mean, dolls and clowns aren't my thing. Like, they creep me out, but I'm not, like, terrified of them, I guess. Really, worms? It's really weird, but you know after it rains and the, like, ground is completely, like, covered with worms that came out of the ground? Sorry, Beth, I know that's probably grossing you out right now. But I hate the smell, like, after rain. Like, I associate that smell with worms. It's gross. So now I'm getting to the point. So again, I am stopping with my needle in and pivoting the strap. I'm gonna continue my 1/8 inch seam allowance. Sew down that side diagonally where you had trimmed, and I'll show you when I'm done. And then stop at the end, pivot again, and now we're going to sew back up the last end. Does anybody hold their breath when you're sewing something and, like, you were so afraid that you're gonna mess it up or something? You're, like, holding your breath to wait till you finish? If you see me pass out, you'll know why now. I'm just kidding. Oh, I got off of the strap somehow. Oh, Norma, I'm sure I will be. Right. So again, a reminder for those of you that weren't on when we first started, the Rafflecopter is still up, so you can still enter to win a Mrs. H and Swoon pattern of your choice. That ends tomorrow. and you can enter every day. The link should be in the events. I want to say that's where Lizzie put it. Specifically in this Rucksack event. Yeah, that's where I carry all my stress, in my neck and my shoulders, basically like from my shoulder blades on up. And I went to get a massage, and she was like, "When was your last massage?" I was like, "I don't know, like a month ago." She was like, "You need to get a massage like every 2 weeks because you were like a rock." And sadly, that's pretty normal for me. Okay, so now that I have finished fixing my last bottom strap that had the different color thread on it, we can continue. So in the time that between yesterday and today, I guess, I went back and fixed the sections that I had skipped stitches yesterday. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it with the lighting, and I also sewed on one of my leather tags right here. So now after sewing, you should have a square box alongside or at the bottom of each one of your handle ends and the middle of your strap. Oh. Keep dropping stuff. Okay, so now we're going to attach our bottom straps. So grab 2 of them and the panel that we had just finished. So the back panel, the one with the handle, and measure in, where's my pen? Measure it in 5 inches from the edge. Nope. 3 inches for this one. So grab your back piece. This is your back panel. And make a mark. And you can just do it towards the bottom. Thank you, Deb. And let's just go ahead and make a little mark right there. And same with this side. Make another mark 3 inches in right there. So now we're going to machine baste it on. In the picture, they have the straps going like this, so they're both going the same way. I don't know if I really have a preference when it comes to this and which way I want it to go. I don't know. Does anybody else have any ideas? Like, which way is the point supposed to point? Hey, Rachel. I missed a spot, so I'm going to go back and sew another line. It's official. I'm just going to keep this one for myself. Just trimming all these threads so they're out of my way. So what do the straps actually look like when they are on? So one connects in the back. Okay, so I'm going to put my ugly straps on the back side. I don't know, Beth, because it actually, like, you actually thread it through the D-rings, all 8 of them that you put in. So I don't know if it's like, I mean, I guess it's the only way that the bag closes. So yeah, it is functional. Because remember, there's no zipper or anything at the top. There's just the zipper that we had put for the zipper pocket on the exterior. So I'm just cleaning up the edges so that everything is even. And the lines that we made, you are going to put your straps. Let's see, which way do I want them? I want them with the ugly side facing the back. So if this is going like this, so one like this, nope, like this. So you are going to start your strap next to that 3-inch line that you did. So just line up your raw edges, and we're going to machine baste. So I just kept at like a 4. And we are machine basting at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So and then do the same with the other strap. So I like my stuff symmetrical, so I am going to put it so that my ends are the same way, or mirrored, I guess you could say. So the same with this one. You are going to sew on the side that is closest to the interior of the bag. So that's where you start your basting. And we're going to put this thing is heavy. Put that aside. And then take back out your front panel that we had did. And you are going to mark 5 inches from each edge. So the back was 3, and this one is 5. So I'm just marking a dash in the seam allowance because we had already basted. So I'm just going to take advantage of the fact that we have that, and it'll be sewn so you can't see it. And now we are going to pretty much do the same thing with your other straps. We're going to machine base also at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. But instead of 3 inches up from the edge, this one is 5. So, and then remember, you put the strap on the side closest to you, and when you're machine basting, I suggest you actually start on the strap or the handle. Don't try to start off the strap where, you know, it's lower, and then try to transition to something taller. Because right here, if I had started here where it's thinner and try to move up to the thicker part, then I would have skipped stitches, especially if I wasn't using a hump jumper. Yes, it is very heavy and cumbersome to move around. All the straps and all the D-rings that we have on it. Well, if you did it for areas like this, where it's just being basted and something else is going to be sewn and covering it anyway, then it doesn't matter as much. Oh, need some water. Now we're going to put together the exterior. So pin the contrasting bottom panel to the front main panel, right sides together, matching the top lining, or the top edges. So here is my contrasting bottom panel. We're just going to put that right sides together. I'm going to clip one end and clip the other end, and I guess we'll throw one in the middle just to. So make sure that everything is straight and aligned. And now we are going to sew this bottom panel on at 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I am going to do a stitch length of like 3 1/4. I'm afraid that with the thicker layer, 3 might be too short. So this one is 1/2 inch seam allowance. I hate that these Juki machines do not come with a 1/2 inch mark. They're just, it goes from 3/8 to 5/8. Okay, so now I'm getting to the bump. Pull up the hump jumper. So this particular one that I use, I got it off Amazon. I believe it is in my Amazon wish list, shopping list thing that I shared with you all. The link for that is in the files. And there is one side that is thicker and one side that is thinner. So you can kind of use it depending on exactly how thick your layers are. So I'm going to take it, and because I need to prop up the back in order to make everything equal, I'm going to put up my presser foot, and I put the hump jumper directly at the back of the needle. So that way it's as close as possible to the front without actually being in the front, if that makes sense, because then you won't have to worry about hitting anything when you sew. So we got on there okay. And now for the descent, do the same thing, except this time in front. But make sure you are quick enough and move your hump jumper so that your needle doesn't hit it. So now that we are on even again, I can go back to just sewing regularly. And now we are hitting the other strap. Oh shit. Sorry I didn't say that. Remember what I just said? About making sure you're quick enough and moving your hump jumper out of the way. Yeah. You see that? Oops. But I'm actually really impressed that it went through. That plastic. However, now I have to rethread. At least this one was for a deserved reason and not it just breaking out of nowhere. I think it's funny how I always say, watch out for this, and then I do exactly what I just talked about. Okay, so only got a couple more inches to go for this bottom seam. Alright, so my bottom seam is sewn on at 1/2 inch seam allowance. And Alicia has us going through and reinforcing that area or those two areas where we have the straps, and just sewing a short little line of stitching right there to strengthen it. So my strap is here, and this one we can do at a 3/8 seam allowance. So just make sure you're doing it within the 1/2 inch that you already did, and start on the strap. Makes your life easier. And don't forget to back stitch. Okay, so now I've sewn on the bottom panel to the back. I have reinforced my bottom straps, so there's an extra layer of, or an extra row of stitches there. Just trimming everything real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, to the front panel. Misspoke. And now we're going to trim our seam allowance down, except for at those strap ends. So we're going to leave the full seam allowance right here and right here. So everything else, we can go ahead and just cut down to 1/4 of an inch, or half of what we have. And then you're going to ignore your strap end and just leave it there. And then go in the middle and do that again. Skip the strap end and go on the other side. So now we have it trimmed, and it should look like this with the weird little points at the bottom. So as I held my bag this way, I'm not sold that that's going to be strong enough. So do I want to sew another line, or do I want to switch thread? Let's see what I got. Okay, so the closest I'm coming up with is my gold bonded nylon, and it's on the inside, so I'm okay with that. Just switch out my bottoms. Come on. I hate that I can't get these out of here. No! In case you're wondering, this is what actual sewing with me looks like. Uh-oh. So I managed to mess up the way that my bobbin was wound. Don't know how. Okay, so I would have just gone through and cut it like we did yesterday with the olive thread, but this thread is more limited, not to mention more expensive, but I care about the fact that I don't have a huge amount of it. So if I run out, I am SOL, because that means I have to place a Waback order. And that also means I'm going to buy stuff I don't need. No, Shinova, I don't even know what that is. But it sounds like I need it. Okay, I ran out of patience. That's enough. Okay, now and unthread this. Welcome back, Norma. And rethread the machine. I actually have a size 16 needle in there right now, which is fine. That's what I want. Alright, so pull those out. Put this on. Huh. I have never heard of that. I'll have to look that up. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can show you exactly what I meant by when I held it up. I wasn't happy with strength. So I held it up like this, and I could tell right here in the corners next to the strap, you can see like gaping holes. So you're going to see some type of hole just because it's impossible to get like super close to the strap. But I am just going to reinforce it with stronger thread. because one, this bag is already heavy, and two, it's the bottom of the bag, so that's going to be where all your weight is being placed on. Okay, so let me just take a look, and hopefully that made some form of difference. And it did. So, all right, so now we can move on. So now you're going to attach it to the, of course I dropped it, the bottom panel to the other side. So again, right sides together. And trim these threads. And okay, so this one is also 1/2 inch seam allowance. So the other thing is make sure that your straps are straight, especially when you sew this bottom on, because if it's not and it's crooked, then when you finish your bag, the exterior, your straps are going to be crooked. now I've sewn on the bottom to the other side, and go ahead and trim everywhere except for where those straps are connected, just like we did the other one. And we're going to fold the contrasting bottom panel in half, wrong sides together. Hang on. So we're going to have it wrong side out, and we're folding the panel this way. Because with the directions, I'm not sure if I'm reading that correctly, but if I'm interpreting the pictures correctly, then I should be. Pin along the side edges of the main panels to secure. So we folded this bottom piece in so that it kind of makes a W shape with your main panels, and then we are just going to pin the rest of it together. Do that with the other side. So before I sew this side seam though, I'm going to hold it up and just take a look at it and make sure that I aligned everything up straight so that it all matches together and it's not missing a spot or crooked somewhere. Okay, so I went ahead and did that, so it should look like this, and I don't think I missed anything except this side can be fixed a little bit. The thing that kind of makes it a little difficult is all the straps and stuff that you have in there. I'm going to grab a couple of binder clips and I am just going to clip these straps out of the way. So on the sides, we're also going to sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then we're going to trim it down to 1/4. This thing is heavy. Note to self, pick a lighter vinyl next time. So align it up at 1/2 inch. Get all of the stupid thread out of the way. Drop your foot. So you can see that on this side, my upper exterior is a little longer because of my inability to cut straight or measure, or sometimes I like to round. So I am just going to keep going straight from where I am there, and I'm not going to go out and be a 1/2 inch from here because then it wouldn't be even. That is sticking out. So again, making sure that my pieces are aligned. Oh no. Hopefully it's fixable though. Sometimes you just gotta put down a project and come back to it later. I do that all the time, and then I'm like, wait, why was I frustrated? Because all I had to do was whatever it is. Deb, which size Denver are you making? So y'all remember when Monica did the Denver Sewalong? So I cut out a mini Denver, totally intending to do that Sewalong, and guess what is just randomly floating around my sewing room in a bag. Grab the candle lighter and these threads I'm going to burn instead of cutting, because one, I know it's gonna take more than a second to melt, and I'm afraid that if I do the regular all-purpose thread and burn it, I will end up burning something that doesn't need to be burnt. So we sewed and trimmed that end. That's like where projects go to die and never come back. Straps are a pain to keep out of the way. I forgot, the last time we were talking about TV shows, it actually might be every single live that I do that we talk about TV shows. And no! I've been sewing with no bobbin thread. And I always ask for show suggestions, and I always mean to write them down, but I never write them down. So today I was trying to find a show to watch. It's really weird, like, what I can and can't get into, because it's not always consistent. Is anybody a Sons of Anarchy fan? So my boyfriend and I have watched the entire series. We actually started watching it when we first started dating. But now, because it's one of the few shows that we actually like in common, we're going back and rewatching it. So I was thinking about trying out the Mayans, which is the spin-off. But there have been very few spin-offs that have been good. Or worth the watch, I guess. Sons of Anarchy is like it's a show about a motorcycle enthusiasts club, aka motorcycle gang, and all the crazy stuff that goes on. And like most shows, as it progresses, it gets crappier. Like all the good shows either get canceled or it ends in the most ridiculous way. Game of Thrones. God bless. Yeah, so I actually stopped watching Game of Thrones, like a season or two in, just because, one, it wasn't practical for me to watch because I refused to get HBO. And two, because I found out that they just kept killing everybody off. And I was like, you know what? I'm not interested anymore. If you are going to just kill off everybody that you made me emotionally invested in, then I'm not going to watch. And then it ended up being a dumb ending anyway. Yeah, there's a lot of violence, a lot of sex, a lot of really inappropriate things, which I'm not like super conservative or anything, but it got to the point where it was just like overshadowing the actual show. Then you had like these people who were all somehow related or not related or whatever things, shows, books, whatever, that have a huge family tree. Can't do it. I can't keep track. Yes, Susan, they definitely were. So that was a pretty cool part to see with the dragons. I don't know what I dropped. When This Is Us first started, I was watching it a lot, and then I stopped watching it after we found out how Jack died. No spoilers. And then I just started up again. But I know that one is a very emotional show, and it makes a lot of people upset, cry, whatever. But it doesn't do that for me. But you know what show does do that? Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy is probably the only show that has gone on for this long and not completely gone down the crapper. I remember when I first started watching it, I was either ending high school or beginning college, because I remember that was a thing where every Thursday when the show came on, we would end up going to somebody's dorm room to watch Grey's Anatomy. What did I do with the scissors? I know we were talking about that the other day. And I don't know, like, maybe it's because I have watched these people for like 17 years, which is over half my life. So I am very invested. I have not tried watching Station 19, which is one of their spin-offs. I have watched Private Practice, which I actually did like, but I really like Kate Walsh, so. Now we are going to put this aside and work on the lining. So we're going to mark 2.5 inch boxes on the lining panels at the bottom. So I'm going to do them both at once. I'm just going to line the corners. Make sure the edges are lined up. So, and you are doing this on the short side. What does it look like? I didn't peek. I'm kind of afraid to peek now. So I put them right sides together and I am drawing wrong side up. So we're doing 2.5 inches this way and then 2.5 inches the other way. So let me actually do that. Well, hey, maybe my corners are wonky too, and we can have wonky atlases together. So after you draw the boxes on there, you are going to go ahead and cut that out. So now we are pinning. Oh, I already did that one. I guess I don't have the last page of the pattern printed out. So let me pull up the PDF. So sorry if I don't respond to your comment right away. Just trying to find my instructions. Where is it? Okay, so now we are going to pin the landing panels right side together, matching all edges. We're going to sew along the two side edges, the long edges, at 1/2 inch seam allowance. And I'm not changing my thread. So we're taking that seam all the way down to where we cut out the box. So don't forget to back stitch at the start and the stop. And then we're going to do that for both sides. Normally I have the same issue. It's like some inability to visualize things, like concepts. I can visualize things that I've actually seen, but with concepts and stuff, not so much, which is probably why I can't do things like draw, because I don't have an image in my mind. Oh, thank you. I don't think that's true because I have seen your bags and they are very, very beautiful. So whatever you're doing is working. Okay, so I am going to I'm going to measure this bottom first, and then I will trim the sides just so I can get this ruler out of the way. So I'm just going to fold this in half to find my center and put a tiny, tiny, tiny little snip in there. And so I have to measure 8 inches because that's the gap that we are leaving open to turn. So I'm going to line up the 4 on my ruler with that notch. And so from 0 to 4 is going to be the opening for this side, and then from 4 to 8. So I'm actually going to scoot that down so that I can use this top of the ruler to mark. So now I have, my notch is right here. I have 4 inches here and 4 inches here. So when I measure it, from here to here should be 8 inches. So we are sewing from here to that first mark. We're skipping this, and then we're doing from here to the corner. And we are 1/2 inch seam allowance, and make sure that we are back stitching. Uh-oh. Just going to re-thread really quickly because my thread started fraying. So my foot fell apart again. So I'm just going to grab my pliers. And I'm going to squeeze these 2 pieces a little closer together, because the reason why this piece keeps coming out is it is too loose. So hopefully now that I have tightened it, we should be good. Let's dust off some of this lint inside the walking foot. Because we want to be nice to the walking foot so that it will work, so that I don't have to keep the other one. And go ahead and screw that back in. Then finish rethreading. Yeah, I definitely would have never started if there weren't tutorials, because while I would try to start with the pattern instructions, there would always be something that I didn't quite understand, so I would have to look it up. So when you get to that mark that we made earlier, so the start of the opening, make sure that you are back stitching here too, because when we turn out the bag, we want to make sure that it is reinforced and that it is not going to come apart. Yeah, you do. Like 99% of the things that I know about making bags are things that I learned from other people. Trust me, it's not like I woke up one day and had a revelation that would change the world of bag making. I've done that too, normal. Where sometimes you just have to watch the same step over and over and over until it clicks. Sometimes I'll even reposition myself so that I'm standing or sitting the exact same way and my pieces are the exact same way as the video so that I can mimic what they're doing, because otherwise I'm trying to process what they're doing and translate it to my current setup, and sometimes that's a little too much. I actually don't have a lot of attention span to watch tutorials and whatnot, which is ironic. But I will watch them and I'll fast forward till I get to the place that I need and go from there. Okay, so now we have trimmed the sides. We are not going to trim the bottom. And let me flip back to the instructions. So we're going to pull the lining panels away from each other and match the side seam to the bottom seam. So, AKA, we are going to box the corners. So all that means is you are going to pull them apart so the corner of your box is going to meet, is going to be like the beginning of your stitch line, and the other corner of your box is going to be the end, and your two seams right here are going to meet. So we are going to sew along that raw edge at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So what I am going to do is, because I did trim it, I don't know if I can open it very well. I'm going to go with no. So I'm just going to push one seam allowance to one side and the other to the other side, just so there's not one side that is completely bulky. And so when you pull it together, it becomes a straight line. So if it is not a straight line or straight-ish, then you have not, basically haven't pulled it tight enough. So just going to get it started right there. Okay, so now that I have my needle in there to hold it in place, I am going to pull the rest of it. So that it's straight, and keep going at my 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to stop right before I get to the middle and just double check and pull one more time. Cherry, I'm not sure what you mean by you sew off the bag. And we are going to go ahead and trim that down to 1/8 of an inch. And now, so with the exterior of the bag right side out, so let us turn. Ugh. This bag is going to be not fun to birth. I can already tell. So right now, this is what the exterior of my bag looks like from the front, the back, the side, so you can see that box bottom, other side, and underneath. Half an inch. Oh, okay. I see what you mean now. So now you're going to put the exterior this bag into the lining that we just did, wrong side out. And make sure you get all your straps and everything in there. Thanks, Norma. It's not like when I was choosing fabrics for this, I had no idea what I was going to do. And I knew that I wanted to use this vinyl. So that's what I did. And then I was like, okay, so what goes with the vinyl? And I was going to do something brown, but then that would have been like a brown overkill. So then I decided to kind of keep it with a like natural, nature-y theme and use this fabric. And I'm really sad. Yeah, it is. It is totally like an octopus. I'm going to be sad when I run out of this fabric because I don't think IKEA has it anymore. Could be wrong. I think I'm getting a workout just from wrestling this bag. Whew. So now we are going to sew the edges together at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Come on. Oops. Wow, that is a big bag. Was it for you or was it for somebody else? Or for sale? Hi, Colleen. Well, I'm sorry you did not get the notification, so I will take a look at where the setting is, and I can take a screenshot and send it to you so that you can make sure that yours match. Because there should be a setting that says, notify me when blah, blah, blah goes live. I never know what I drop. Okay, that one was my cutting mat. Well, you're just in time for the fun part. ones that you were talking about yesterday? Okay, so, I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the rest of the steps, but just making sure. Okay, so just gotta trim this down to 1/4 inch. Okay, I need another break. Okay, who's ready for the fun part? Whew. God, where do I even start? Oh, my hands are gonna hate me tomorrow. Oops. So before you sew the lining closed, don't forget to poke out the corners of your boxed corner. Yeah, for sure, Dad, this one was. But only because it was so heavy. Then take your seam allowance for that lining and fold them inwards. And we're just going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, we got that done. Just okay, so now we're going to shove the lining back inside the bag. Okay, like I feel like I could fit in this bag. The bottom sides of the exterior. Ooh, I'm working up a sweat. Right? So it looks like this, Beth. Hopefully you can see. On the other, so that middle panel earlier when you pushed it up, it formed this V. It feels like it's sucking me in, like holy cow. Okay, so when you are fully done turning out your bag, turn on my iron, you are going to make sure that the seam that's connecting your lining and the exterior is like, it's not going to be at the top. It's going to be inside the bag. So you have this look of the exterior going inside to the lining. So I'm just heating up my iron so that I can press that top. And then as soon as I do that, I can top stitch and we will have finished this atlas finally. Now, this one actually was not bad to make at all. Just a lot of straps. Why do I pick the bags that have like a lot of something? Like the Sydney? Oh my god, the Sydney. Like a lot of pockets. So I have a Sewalong scheduled in Mrs. H next month, about mid-month. That one I'm doing the convertible bag. I really don't remember. But I don't have anything picked out for Swoon yet. So if there's anything specific y'all would like to see, I will take requests. But since Swoon has a ton of patterns, I would like to do something that has not been done by one of us already. Just so we can get through the catalog. Again, changing thread colors. See that? I caught that. So coming up soon, we have Nova doing the Frankie, and Monica is doing, I can't remember which one, and I can't see from here what my calendar says. So I'm just going to hit this top part so that I can crease. Jeez, every time I move this bag, like everything just goes flying. Oop. Oh, you know what? I should run this iron over the front as well, because I had used that heat erase marker. So I want to make sure I erase them. Thank you, Della. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Frankie too, because it's not one that you see a lot. Alright, so I am going to rethread, and now I'm just top stitching with plain old Gutermann, because that's the color that I have that matches the best. We'll have to look through the Swoon catalog and see what other bags there are, because for some reason I cannot think of any right now. Yes, I knew she was starting hers on the 1st. I just could not remember which one she was doing. Okay, so let's wrestle with this bag and get it top stitched. Change my setting to 4 stitch length. I kind of want to do the Heidi just because I don't think anybody's done the Heidi yet. But that was the second swoon pattern that I had ever done, and it was bad. Like, I don't know if it was just like my inability to read instructions, or I was still pretty new to zippers at that point too, so that didn't help because of all the zippers. But I would like to be able to tackle that one. But we'll see what else catches the eye. Usually by this time, I would already know what I was doing next. I can take a look at that one, Delva. If anything, I will toss a poll up and see, since Monica and Nova already have planned out what they're doing next month. There won't be like 500 polls up. Really? Not even on YouTube? I can't even picture what that one looks like right now, so I will make sure I take a look for sure. So, alright, we are done top stitching, so let's figure out how to close this. Oh, sorry, I kind of take it for granted that everybody knows how to use the D-rings. So I rolled mine over so that the strap support is at the top. And then I take the strap with the D-rings and then the coordinating strap on the bottom. And I'm going to thread the strap from behind through both D-rings. And pull that up. And then separate the D-rings and put the point, if you can even get it through, which I might not be able to just because these straps are so thick. We may have a problem. Come on. Ah! Oh my gosh, was that a lot of work? So at some point, I might actually replace the D-rings with either bigger D-rings, just because my straps are so thick. And luckily all I'll have to do for that is just to take out the rivet and replace these and rivet it back. Thank you, Della. Oh, that's the drawstring top backpack. Yeah, I can take a look at that. Ugh. I think maybe some of it was assuming that people would not be using vinyl everything. But am I really confused? So, like, are we really connecting this with this? Because it's not holding anything together. Or is it just to balance out the look of the front? I'm really confused. Anyways, so I didn't tighten it all the way just because I am having issues getting it through. But this is basically what it looks like. So the rolled over or folded over top, the straps that do this in the front, your zipper pocket in the front, like a backpack. Oh, duh. Because it is a Atlas, a rucksack. It is obviously supposed to be worn like a backpack. Thank you, Cassandra. So you basically do the same thing in the back. And then these are the straps that go around your shoulders. And these are the ones that hold the front down. So I have to find something to cut my rivets off. If anybody has any ideas, let me know. Deb, let me know how that cornstarch works out. I might have to hammer the heck out of these to thin them out. I also have some Giardini base coat dents coming because Buckle Guy finally got it back in stock, so I ordered a couple. And I am planning on using that on the edge of this just because I don't really like the look of the gray backing on the brown vinyl. It's just me though. So I would be finishing this and finishing the edges of where the rivet is. Yeah, Nicole, I really like the zipper pocket too. That was the first time where I've done it with two different fabric, and like it's kind of hidden, or what do they call this? A welt pocket? I think that's my first. So, okay. Thank you everybody for your patience all week while I've been dealing with this walking foot thing, and of course I still don't have it. Cutting pliers. Oh, I'll have to look that up, Delva. Thank you. Thanks, Deb. So as always, I appreciate everybody's company and would love to see what everybody else's bag looks like after you make one. And don't forget to register for the Rafflecopter. Link should be in the Atlas event in the group. If you just click on events and then scroll down to where it says past events, and you should be able to see it. So there is our bag, and everybody have a good night, and I will post something probably later this week, maybe tomorrow, trying to figure out what the next Sewalong will be so that we can get the prep session scheduled as well. Well, thank you all very much. So have a good night. If you need anything, just send one of us a message and we'll be more than happy to help. Bye.